Okay, so August 4th that just passed, 2023, we just did the first Lucha Libre show, pro wrestling show in Richmond in 15 years. There wasn't one in 15 years. It was crazy. It was crazy. We had you guys, reps from the Voice Party there. We had a lot of other local organizations there moving forward. Lions Club, a lot of other folks, came out. Tortas El Charlie, shout out to them. They brought the food. The food was good. Awesome. It was good. A lot of people came out, like you said. Like when we first put it out there, didn't nobody really think like nobody was gonna sell, but bro, we sold like 150 tickets pre-sale. Ooh, and wow. Then like it was more people that showed up,
and there's people on the side of the streets watching. It was crazy.
So how does this come about? How do you set this up? How do you get contacted to work with each other? Do you hit them up?
First, we build the ring. No,
but like the whole process.
The whole process of everything.
I'm so curious about this.
Okay, so it kind of ties into a few things. So give me a couple minutes with it.
Cool.
So I've always wanted to kind of do something like this. I've known Phil and Joaquin for like how many years, bro? How many years?
20. Goes 20? Back to like 2004.
Yeah, bro. Like I've known them for hella long, like 20 years. So Jay, sidebar, how long I know you for?
Little Caesars was 2009.
So just a little like 15 years. I've known this man for like 15.
And we could do a whole episode on Little Caesars.
Just based on that. We should one of these days.
With D-Les, Jonah.
Facts. We should do that.
Somebody call Randy.
Facts. But I always wanted to do something like this back in the day, because me, Phil, Joaquin, shout out to Ant, shout out to all the guys who were doing we were doing like backyard wrestling way back, like in our high school days, right?
Brutal video.
Like crazy shit, right? Like the craziest shit.
And based on the algorithm now, you probably wouldn't be able to show some of that.
Yeah, facts, bro. True. Facts. It'd be like way too violent, right? But like, we would do that stuff, and then we would always talk about like wanting to get into like wrestling, like for real. We were all like fans, right? Like super fans. We would be into the shit, like really, really into it. And I don't know, as we got older, time passes, everybody's doing their thing. I'm feel fortunate enough that all of us have kind of been able to do something that we want to do and that we enjoy doing. But work is work, and so I kind of drifted off into just living life and doing all that until I started this business.
Okay.
Lost the weight and all that, and then I was like, okay, well now, after I've lost the weight and I got healthy, I feel like maybe I can kind of jump into this, right? Like I'm athletic enough to jump into wrestling, right? So met Gabriel Ramirez, who owns Pro Wrestling Revolution, which is the lucha company that
put it on,
ran the show. And this was at WrestleMania weekend, I think like maybe 5-6 years ago, like when they came to the Bay, when the WWE came to the Bay. Gabe had a show. Yeah. And Gabe had a show out here, and so just by like chance, I wound up going up to him, shaking his hand and everything after the show, because I always just like to endear myself to people who run shit and do the different things and make moves. I don't know why, just even from way back, that was always me. But was training at his school for a while, and then stopped for a second, which we'll get into later, but stopped for a second, came back like maybe last year, after I kind of got the business straight and everything, and me and him started talking, because even back in my first run, I was like, yo, y'all should do something in Richmond, because it's viable, it's a market out here, and people want to be entertained. People like things out here. People think that like in Richmond, people don't like things or some shit, like we don't like to do stuff, it's just people like to be miserable all day. No, like you feel what I'm saying? That's how they be making it seem. And so I know, just like y'all know from doing events and doing different things like that over the years, just like when we were doing stuff, Phil and Joaquin, when we were doing Go to Work fitness stuff, we were doing community events and doing stuff like that. Yep. So I'm aware, and watching, JD and you guys with the comedy shows and things like that, things we've done together too. I'm aware that people want to be entertained, and we have a bustling community of performers out here, artists out here, and movers and shakers out here. So
especially interactive shit.
Yeah. And that was my thing.
Yeah.
And the one thing we have out here right now is like a really thriving youth community, a lot of young people, a lot of very bright young people, and it's about what you put in front of them right now, right? So if we put the same old things that we have in front of them, nothing's ever going to change because we didn't really have much out here, right? But if we're putting things out there that are, like you said, interactive, that are different, that, you know, when I was a kid, I used to love to go to the wrestling matches or go to the, you know, the lucha events or anything like that. Those were memories for me. And a couple of people were telling me at the show, like, those were core memories for them, you know what I mean, for the city, for their kids and stuff like that. But even when I was telling Gabe and them that like a couple years ago, nobody would listen because they were just like, really? Richmond? In Richmond? And they're like, no, yeah, in Richmond.
Someone's got to start it, though.
And that's why I was saying, so my thing was, okay, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, right? And so I just paid for everything to get done. And I was just like, okay.
You took this out of your pocket?
Yeah, I took it out of my pocket to get started with. And then I partnered with Rich City Ride, shout out to Najari. Partnered with them to get like a lot of the other necessary things done. Partnered with you guys to kind of get the word out. Same thing with moving forward, just making it a community thing, right? Sure. And I think at first people were like, I don't know, because, you know what I mean, it hasn't been done before. But like you said, it's about putting it out there and getting something done. And I felt like just over the years, through the things we've done, through, you know, the Go to Work fitness stuff, even like our equity that we have in the community, like through Voice Party, through Unhealthy Comedian, just the way we represent the Rich City area, right. I feel like we have enough home equity here in order to be like, hey, we're doing something, come out and support, and people will show up. And so I just risked it all on that, and, you know, it paid off.
Yeah,
you know,
and people were asking like, when's the next one? Or I wish you guys had a mask merch.
Yeah.
So that like lets you know.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
That's a market for it. And that's why I was telling people, it's a market for it out here. Yeah. People think we don't like shit. We do.
And the performers liked it.
Yeah.
That shit was, you saw
bro, the performers, even now, were hitting me up, even like from yesterday, keep hitting me up like, yo, we really enjoyed it out there. Yeah. You know, they didn't know what to expect, of course, but I was telling people from the get-go, hey, you know, we know what the stigma is from way back when. I done said this for years. We know what it is from way back when. We grew up in that. But how do you change that? You can't change it by just complaining about it or saying what it was or do anything like that. No, you gotta put your feet on the ground. Put sometimes if you gotta put your money where your mouth is, put your time where your mouth is, and that's what we did.
If you sell something, people will buy it.
People will buy it. You know.
Okay, so I have a question about like kind of hitting deeper.
Go for it.
Do you have any reservations when you kind of get to this point of like, okay, I've put my money in, we're telling people it's here at a public park, and the first initial reaction to hearing that it's at Nickel Park or something, where was it at Nickel Park?
MLK Park. MLK.
But when you hear it's at a park in Richmond outside,
like the
initial people's thoughts might be like, oh, is that real? Is that or is that going to be whack as hell? Blah blah blah. Do you have those reservations at all? And being like, I know I got to push through this because I know some of the stipulations that are already attached to Richmond. I know the stipulations.
That's where Keith was shot.
Like if we're not promoting it at the auditorium, then it might not be legit.
Yeah.
Do you have any of those worries at all?
So,
or that people might have those worries.
Or that people might have those worries and not buy tickets.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a really good question. I think in the beginning, I think people had reservations, right? I don't think when I said I wanted to do this event, I did it because I felt like it was going to work, like from the get-go. Because like I said, over the years, watching what people do at our events, the things that we've thrown, things that have had, I haven't seen problems. You know what I mean? I haven't seen that. I feel like a lot of that is stigma from things that have happened, like you said in the past, like with Keek, and that was super unfortunate. You know what I mean?
Because it was right down the street.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what I mean? But I also feel like what we do, the spirit of what we do things in affects things, right? So I'm feeling like if I'm doing something with the spirit of love for my city, with the spirit of love for my people. Most people are gonna come out with that same love, and that's what I was doing when we were doing promos. I was like, hey, come out with the love for your city, come out with the love for, you know, your community and all that, because it needs to be out there that, you know, this is what it's about, this is what we represent. And you know, a lot of people don't even think we could do these things, you know what I mean? People don't even think it's possible. Like you said, a lot of people had reservations, and I was telling them, nah, man, you know, it's different hearing it from somebody who's been on both sides, because I've been on the side to where the stigma comes from. I've, just like you and a lot of y'all, grew up in the city, grew up where a lot of these things have happened, lost a lot of friends here, had friends in jail, a lot of things, you know what I mean? So I'm not ignorant to anything that's happened. What I do understand and what I do see is especially now within the last few years, being able to hang out with these youngsters, being able to hang out with, you know what I mean, a lot of these people that are coming up, and seeing just the core of our talent base in our community, whether it's our performers, whether it's people that are doing whether it's the young people that are interested in coding or tech or anything like that, because I get to meet a lot of these people now,
the environment,
right?
They're working on the
they're working, doing different things. There are a lot of bright minds here, and they can't help what the city did before. You feel what I'm saying?
Yep.
So what do we do? Do we sit over here and talk about what was going on back when forever, or do we sit over here and make the next 10 years the building blocks, the foundation for when these kids be like, this is the Richmond I know, where something like this is going on all the time.
Like in the future, they're gonna. Oh, I remember going to comedy shows or rollerblading, or lucha events.
And these are they memories of the
core
city.
memories. They're core memories.
They're core memories.
And that's what I
I'm
like
saying.
is seeing like kids. There was a lot of kids there. It was a family friendly event.
Yep.
And I go to comedy shows now and don't laugh. You know. But I went to this, and when the dude was like, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And then there was one of those moments where like I know like wrestling promotions do it, where like, oh, someone's injured, and I was like,
no, for real though, right?
I really thought she was like, can you believe the Voice Party has had merch this whole time and we neglected to tell anybody? T-shirts, hoodies, bath mats, wall clocks, throw pillows, even mini skirts. We will throw our logo on absolutely anything. Click the link in the description below and pick you up some Voice Party merch today.